It's Monday, May 10th, 2021. Welcome to the reading of the Times Reporter newspaper. My name is Pam. Let's begin with area deaths. Sheila Ann Bear Muschuk of New Philadelphia, Ohio, went home to be with our Lord and Savior on Monday, April 5th, at the age of 79. There will be a private event scheduled over the next several weeks to remember her positive spirit and inspirational life. Fanna Marie Conaway, age 62, of North Canton and formerly of the Tuscarawas Valley, died late Thursday, May 6th, while in the care of Community Hospice House at New Philadelphia, following a period of declining health. In keeping with Fanna's wishes, there will be no public visitation or services. Jean Desiker, 94, of Dover, passed away on Friday, May 7th, at Park Village Healthcare Center in Dover. Friends are invited to call at the Tollin Herzig Funeral Home and Crematory in Dover on Tuesday, May 11th from 1 to 3 p.m. and 5 to 7 p.m. A celebration of Jean's life will be held at the Tollin Herzig Funeral Home and Crematory in Dover on Wednesday, May 12th at 11 a.m. Charles Eugene or Charlie Gates, age 68, of Cadiz, passed away Thursday, May 6th, in Mercy Hospice, Canton, after a lengthy illness. Services will be held Tuesday, May 11th at 7 p.m. in Koch Funeral Home, Scio. Friends may call prior to service from 4 to 7 p.m. at the funeral home. And this completes the area deaths listed in today's online edition. So let's begin with our first article. Report on Mayor focuses on 8 areas of concern by John Baker. City Council released the final report Wednesday on its investigation into the physical and mental well-being of Mayor Richard Homrighausen. The report, the result of a weeks-long investigation that involved hours of oral interviews with city employees and the collection of hundreds of pages of documents, focused on 8 areas of concern. Each of these categories on its own should be a point of concern for every citizen of Dover, according to a summary of the report read by Council President Shane Gano during a Council Committee of the Whole meeting. Taken together, however, it becomes clearly apparent to the members of this body that city administration under Mayor Richard Homrighausen is not functioning currently in a proper manner. Given the gravity of some of the information voluntarily disclosed by city employees to this committee during the investigation, the members of Dover City Council would request additional outside review of that information by appropriate state and local agencies, especially as it relates to potential violations of the Ohio Revised Code or the codified ordinances of the City of Dover. The mayor was not present at the meeting Wednesday, nor did he call in on Zoom. In February, Council sent a letter to Homrighausen calling on him to resign, citing its declining faith in his ability to lead the city. The mayor has refused to resign. The final report was compiled by attorneys for Ulmer and Burney, outside legal counsel for City Council. So far, the city has spent $14,000 on legal fees for the investigation, Gano said. The 8 areas of concern are neglect of the responsibilities under the control of the mayor. The summary notes that Homrighausen was unavailable during much of the COVID-19 pandemic, forcing unelected city employees to take up duties related to city policy during the crisis. According to the summary, the mayor provided almost no input on the latest city budget, routinely missed labor negotiations with the city's police union, and failed to provide proposed salary scales of non-bargaining personnel. Regarding delegation of authority to non-city personnel, the report alleges that Homrighausen improperly delegated managing and responding to emails to non-city employees, including his son Nick and his wife Linda. The report says the mayor has officially identified his wife as his designee to city employees and empowered her to access a public building and public records without supervision, impeding the City Council's legislative investigation. According to the report, Homrighausen purportedly issued an administrative instruction telling city employees not to respond to requests from Dover City Council, impeding not only the investigation but also routine city business. Failure to enforce Dover's drug-free workplace policy. The report says that the mayor's son, Peter, was involved in a minor accident 2 years ago while working for the General Services Department. He was never drug tested, though he allegedly told his supervisors that he did not believe he could pass a drug test. The incident was reported to the mayor by one of his son's supervisors, but the mayor took no action. This is a direct violation of the city's drug-free workplace policies, section 2B4, by failing to act when information is provided by a reliable source, the report summary said. Instead of following the drug-free workplace policy, the mayor appears to have condoned a known violation of the policy. Potential nepotism law violations. According to the report, the mayor made the final decision to hire his son Peter for a city job, violating Ohio Revised Code provisions against nepotism. The report also alleges that the mayor ruled on a grievance brought by his son and 2 other employees, and he appeared at the time contracted his son's direct supervisors regarding issues related to his son's employment. Potentially receiving improper compensation. According to the report, Hamredhauser received and retained compensation for weddings he performed as mayor, often on city property. Though the compensation goes to the mayor, the report says he used his executive assistant and city resources for the administrative tasks associated with the weddings. From testimony of city employees and record evidence, the report says it appears that the mayor was performing the weddings as an official duty, likely violating the Ohio Revised Code. Failure to disclose compensation to Ethics Commission. According to the report, the mayor's compensation for performing weddings does not appear to be disclosed on his recent Ethics Commission filings. This failure amounts to a potential statutory violation of the Ohio Revised Code. Solicitation calls by city employees for mayoral campaign fundraising events. The report said that city employees have voluntarily disclosed to the committee that they were asked to make sponsorship solicitation calls for the mayor's campaign. This committee believes that request, especially if made during business hours, is inappropriate, even if ultimately the calls were made during non-business hours, the summary says. City employees are prohibited by the Ohio Revised Code from making solicitation calls for a partisan political campaign. Following the meeting, Gannot said council has taken the investigation about as far as it can go. We did our best to do our due diligence, uncover documents and information, and try to find issues that we believe need addressed within the city of Dover, he said. I expect there to be some legislative packages that result out of this, that try and resolve some of the issues that we saw in these findings. But ultimately, the next steps that are not legislative in nature, those are going to be up to the state authorities and ultimately the electors of the city of Dover, if they choose to decide to do anything about this. Those choices include filing petitions in common pleas court or probate court for the mayor's removal, or filing a petition for a recall election. And now, Tuscarawas County moves to yellow on the health report. The Tuscarawas County Health Department and the New Philadelphia City Health Department learned Thursday Tuscarawas County has moved from risk level 2 orange to risk level 1 yellow in the Ohio Public Health Advisory System. Over the past week, the county's rate of new COVID-19 cases per capita decreased to 42.4 new cases per 100,000 people, which enabled the move to level 1. The level 1 risk designation means that there is active exposure and spread of COVID-19 in Tuscarawas County, and county residents are encouraged to continue following all current health orders. We are thankful to see the decrease of COVID-19 cases in Tuscarawas County, and we credit this success to everyone who has continued to follow the safety protocols to reduce the spread of the virus, says Katie Seward, Tuscarawas County Health Commissioner. To keep this downward case trend going strong, the new Philadelphia City Health Commissioner and I encourage residents to choose vaccinations at their soonest opportunity and to stay the course by adhering to safety guidelines to wear masks, social distance, avoid large gatherings, wash hands frequently, and stay home and get tested if you're sick. This is the prescription for our eventual return to normalcy here in Tuscarawas County. Added Vicki Iono, new Philadelphia City Health Commissioner, we really appreciate the community's support to reduce the spread of COVID-19. Commissioner Seward and I feel confident that if we all work together, we can do what's necessary to maintain our level 1 status. Up next, we have more employers right now than job seekers. Ohio Means Jobs has more than 150 job openings in the area. In Coshocton, most employers in Coshocton County will tell you they have jobs available, but finding people to take those jobs lately has been tough. Ohio Means Jobs of Coshocton County routinely has more than 150 job openings listed, ranging from retail to food service to factories to upper management. The agency hosted a job fair with 12 local employers representing more than 100 available positions Thursday at the Coshocton Elk Lodge. Business coordinator Shana Stanton said the event was in connection with In-Demand Jobs Week and would have been bigger if not for COVID-19 pandemic restrictions. OMJ reported 34 job seekers attending, with 13 landing positions so far. Stanton said OMJ is doing its best on getting the word out on available positions and offering help to job seekers. This includes assistance with resumes, tips for interviews, and opportunities for training and education. Our employers really need employees right now, Stanton said. We have more employers right now than job seekers, and it's usually the other way around. Employers at the job fair included Kraft Heinz, McWane Ductile, Cleveland Cliffs, Annie Flagmakers, Alter Care, Dunkin' Donuts, Foster Bridge, PSI Industrial Solutions, Papa John's, Walmart, Coshocton County Coordinated Transportation Agency, and Coshocton Mobility Management. Annan was represented by Surge Staffing. Workforce Management, Melanie Hatcher, said the maker of U.S. and other flags is hiring packagers and sewers on first and second shift. She said Annan is raising starting wages on Monday from $9.05 an hour to $11 an hour. Hatcher said raising wages, attendance bonuses, and increased benefits are all enticement employers they work with are exploring to entice new hires. Valerie Shaw, CCCTA Director, said she has 4 new shuttles coming via an Ohio Department of Transportation grant, but nobody to drive them. We have plenty of people to fill those shuttles, but no way to get those people moving, she said. I find it hard to advertise a lot and get our name out there. Foster Bridge is a personal care and homemaker provider with offices in Athens, Bridgeport, Coshocton, Cambridge, Marietta, New Philadelphia, South Zanesville, and Zanesville. Courtney King, registered nurse supervisor, said they're having a hard time finding home health aides even though they offer flexible hours. There are 2,400 elderly people in Ohio who need the services we provide, who are going without services because there are no employees to put with them, King said. Lynn Jacobs, workforce administrator for OMJ of Coshocton County, said the worker shortages is the same across all Ohio. It's something he's never seen in his 21 years with job and family services. Jacobs said a primary reason is the increased unemployment benefits during the pandemic, but that won't last forever. Everybody is looking for employees, and we're struggling to meet the need for the businesses, not only in Coshocton County, but all the counties in Ohio at this time, Jacobs said. The pendulum has swung way far one way, and we find ourselves in new territory trying to help the businesses. We just can't produce an employee. However, that is good news for anyone needing a job or looking for a new one. Unemployment for Coshocton County is 5.5%, above the 4.7% for the state, but under the 6% for the nation. If you're in a job that's minimum wage or really doesn't suit you, now's the time to take those steps up the ladder and look for that new career that fits your desires a little more, or even the wage. Jacobs said wages are going up. Companies have decided, you know what, I need the employees, and they're trying to help with the wages. Businesses have to come up with something special to get those employees. They're at a premium. Up next, Blake Greenwell indicted with murder and rape of Breonna Ratliff by Leonard L. Hayhurst. A Coshocton teen was indicted Friday by a special edition of the Coshocton County Grand Jury with several charges related to the death of Breonna Ratliff of Coshocton. Blake A. Greenwell, 19, was indicted with 2 counts of aggravated murder, unclassified felonies, 1 count of rape, a first-degree felony, and 1 count of tampering with evidence, a third-degree felony. Ratliff, 20, went missing from the vicinity of Hall Park on April 15th, and her body was found by a search party on April 18th at an abandoned house in the 1800 block of Chestnut Street near the park. Mayor Mark Mills said the city is working on having the house demolished once it's released by authorities as evidence in the investigation. Coshocton County Coroner Douglas Verosco previously said Breonna suffered a traumatic death and the lethal event was stab wounds to the neck. Coshocton County Prosecutor Jason Givens, during a bond hearing for Greenwell, said a cutting instrument was used. The indictment states Greenwell purposely and with prior calculation caused the death of Ratliff, and based on the facts of the case, 2 different types of aggravated murder was applicable, leading to the 2 counts. The indictment also read that while causing her death, Greenwell engaged in sexual contact with Ratliff while making her submit by force or threat of force. Additionally, Greenwell attempted to alter, destroy, or conceal evidence related to the crimes during the investigation. Givens said during the bond hearing that evidence against Greenwell was overwhelming. This included a confession, recovery of the alleged murder weapon, witness testimony and video, forensic and medical evidence. The Coshocton County Sheriff's Office and Ratliff's mother previously said the 2 were longtime friends. Greenwell is being held in Coshocton Justice Center on a $1 million bond. Ratliff, a 2020 graduate of Coshocton High School and a former student of the cosmetology program at the Coshocton County Career Center, was buried Friday at Mount Hope Cemetery in Shiloh. New Philadelphia Tax Department releases tax day reminder, courtesy of the New Philadelphia Income Tax Department. The New Philadelphia Income Tax Department recently released a reminder that tax day is May 17th. Those who wait until May 17th to go to the Income Tax Department to file their 2020 city return may not be able to enter the building due to COVID-19 social distancing requirements. Residents filing may have to wait outside. The office is open from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Mondays through Fridays. It is located in the lower level of the Nicely Municipal Center, 150 East High Avenue. An after-hours drop slot is located on the west side of the building. Staff will be able to assist residents with simple New Philadelphia tax returns through May 14th, but residents should plan for a possible wait. The staff will not be able to provide assistance after May 14th. It is recommended that residents fill out their city tax return today and mail the return. It is asked that residents remember to include all documentation and payment if a balance is due, or come to the department on or before May 17th if assistance is needed. New Philadelphia does have online filing, and a 6-digit account number is needed to e-file. Residents should contact the Income Tax Department to obtain their 6-digit number. Payments can be made by cash, check, or money order, and online through PSN on the city's website. For the online payment portal, go to newphilaoh.com. That's newphilaoh.com. For information, call 330-364-4491, extension 1231. And now, projects proposed at Garaway by Barb Limbacher. At an April board meeting of education at the Garaway Athletic Director Chip Amiconi presented proposals for 3 large projects that would benefit the community. The district is expecting to receive about $4 million in federal government grant funds. The 3 projects are a weight room expansion, all-weather track replacement, and construction of a multi-purpose field house. Garaway is expected to receive grants which are based on Title I allocations. All school districts will be receiving this funding, but in different amounts. The district will receive from the Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Relief, or the ESSER 1 CARES Act, $306,273. ESSER 2 Coronavirus Response and Relief Supplemental Appropriations of $1,207,136, and ESSER 3 American Rescue Plan, or the ARP Act, of approximately $3 million. A weight room expansion is needed at the high school. The current weight room is small, outdated, uninviting, has heating, ventilation, and air conditioning issues. Amiconi said the room is unable to meet the current needs of athletes and athletic programs. Equipment is incomplete and in poor condition. He said many of the students are enrolled in exercise weight training classes. The weight room would be expanded within the high school. The replacement of an all-weather track at the football stadium would cost about $100,000, Amiconi said. Board member Mike Warcall liked the ideas presented and commented the community has always been supportive. The current track is 20 years old, and everything possible has been done to extend the life as long as possible. We patched and resurfaced the track 5 years ago. The lines and important markings are almost completely faded away. It is a very hard surface, and surface-related injuries have increased on a yearly basis, he said. The protective latex coating is worn away, and the rubber is wearing off at a rapid rate all around the track. Warcall said that 60 to 80 students in grades 7 through 12 participate in track each year. The proposed multi-purpose field house would be constructed on a vacant lot owned by Belden Brick and located across from Park Street Pizza. Superintendent Dr. James Millett said Belden Brick is always very accommodating to the district, and the proposal has been discussed with them. Amiconi said a facility would eliminate the current lack of space for off-season workout opportunities in all sports, would accommodate youth programs and space for spring sports in the early season practices. This would also provide quality space for the band to practice and baseball, softball teams that use the high school gym for season practices in a space that's too small and dangerous, and high-risk damages to bleachers and limited practice time. Amiconi said a large, multi-purpose space could be used for academic, music, and athletic purposes, and additional space would benefit athletic programs, and youth sports would have access to the facility. Over 200 youths participate in youth baseball and softball teams. Batting cages could be installed to use year-round. The goal of the district is to introduce students to healthy lifestyles that would contribute to higher self-esteem and positive mental health. The size of the facility has not been determined. However, it will be large enough for what is needed for the community. Board member Dick Marshall said to not skimp on the proposal, as everyone would be able to use the facilities. The district has a $12 million budget and received $252,486 for student wellness and success funding. Millett said those involved in spending the grant funds will make sure the projects are long-term. Some of the items proposed are heating, ventilation, and air conditioning improvements in every building, air purification, additional Chromebooks, new staffing, supplementals for tutoring, and addressing learning loss and larger buses. And now we'll move on to Dover Library to host a Civil War program. The Dover Public Library will host a Civil War program featuring historian Chris Hart at 6:30 p.m. May 25th via Facebook Live. Hart will portray New York City policeman Peter Hart, who has been invited to give the eulogy of his friend Robert Anderson, with whom he served at Fort Sumter. Hart will share events leading up to and conditions during the first battle of the Civil War, including the lowering of the flag when the fort is surrendered. The first shots of the American Civil War were fired on Fort Sumter, an island fortress in Charleston, South Carolina, held by federal troops. Confederate soldiers aimed their heavy artillery at the small garrison and fired April 12, 1861. Sumter was a small garrison that housed 10 officers, 75 enlisted men, and 55 laborers who strengthened the defenses of the fort. Sumter commanded Major Robert Anderson surrendered the fort into the hands of the Confederate forces after 2 days. This event is offered in partnership with the Tuscarawas Valley Civil War Roundtable. Hart is the creator History Comes to Life, where he portrays historical figures. He serves as adjunct facility and guest lecturer at several Ohio universities in Ohio and has served as program development manager at historic Roscoe Village in Coshocton. The Tuscarawas County Historical Society recently awarded Hart the Zeisberger Heckwalder Medal for outstanding contributions to local history. Well, friends, that concludes the reading of the Times Reporter for Monday, May 10th. Thank you for having me into your home today. Please stay safe until we meet here again. And my wish, as always, for you is that you will be abundantly blessed.